Proper Trail Etiquette. If you're new to off-roading, you should really learn some basic trail etiquette. And even if you've been doing this stuff for years, it never really hurts to review. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And leave that road rage at home because
roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The rise of popularity with overlanding and off-roading in general in the past few years has resulted
in crowded trails.
Although many of us overland to get away from the crowds, it's unavoidable at times. So how do we help ensure that everyone is able to have an enjoyable and safe experience? Manners and etiquette, something that's sorely lacking in today's society.
With the understanding, I am quiet.
But I digress. Knowing proper trail etiquette isn't just about good off-road manners. It also keeps things safer for everyone enjoying the trails. The overarching principle of good trail etiquette, the ABCs if you will, is to always be courteous. ABC, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Man, I wish I could afford that song. That would have been great. One of the great things about the off-road community is that most people are helpful and friendly. We're all out there trying to enjoy the trails and are like-minded in that regard. So let's just play nicely together. You can go back to fighting about whatever the media tells us to fight about when you get back home.
Big whoop, wanna fight about it?
Now, let's talk about the 8 simple rules to follow for proper trail etiquette. Rule number 1, learn to read the trail signs, when there are signs. Some trails are designated for specific uses. Some trails only allow ATVs, for example. But some trails allow every type of motorized vehicle. It's pretty simple. When there are trail signs, follow the signs. They're not hard to understand. Even I can figure them out. Sometimes trails don't have any signs at all, so what do you do in that case? Well, there's good old MVUMs, that's multi-vehicle use maps, which will show what trails are designated for what type of vehicle. Or the better way to do it, since you're going to want offline navigation while you're overlanding anyways, is to use an app like OnX Off-Road that lets you filter by trail type, or Gaia GPS that has MVUM layers available and a handy-dandy overlanding map layer as well. So the whole point here is to stick to trails made for your type of vehicle. Rule number 2, yield to hikers, horses, and smaller vehicles like motorcycles and mountain bikes. When you're going slow on a rough section of trail and a hiker, horse, motorcycle, or mountain biker needs to pass, let him pass. And if you encounter them while you're cruising along at higher speeds, slow down for a minute while you pass them so that you're not covering them in a giant cloud of dust. Rule number 3, right of way.
Quiz, hotshot.
Generally speaking, on a narrow trail, who has the right of way on an incline? A, the vehicle going downhill, B, the vehicle going uphill, or C, whoever has the bigger rig. If you said C, just stop watching. The ABCs clearly aren't for you. If you said B, you're correct. It's much easier for somebody going downhill to regain momentum, so let the person coming up the hill get around you.
What you guys doing? Well, thank you. Be safe.
Rule number 4, hand signals. And I don't mean flipping the bird, nor do I mean this. When you're out on the trails and you encounter a vehicle going in the opposite direction, particularly on narrow trails, it's customary to hand signal how many vehicles are behind you. And not necessarily just how many vehicles in your own party are behind you, but how many vehicles you know are behind you in total. So if I got one buddy behind me and I know there's 2 other vehicles behind him, I hold up 3 fingers.
That's the German sea.
The last driver in a convoy should hold up a closed fist to indicate that they're the last vehicle. So closed fist means 0 vehicles behind me. And if you're alone, same deal. Just hold up a closed fist if you know there's nobody else behind you. Rule number 5, no tailgating. We're not talking about football season tailgating. We're talking about following too closely. It's common sense to leave an appropriate amount of distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. At least that's what you're supposed to do. Even though people seem to ignore that every minute of every day, at least here in California anyways. It's wise to keep a safe distance off-road as well, because you never know what obstacle the vehicle ahead of you may encounter and or when they may need to stop abruptly. Other than the common sense safety implications of keeping your distance, there are other benefits. In dusty areas, it's just smart to keep your distance so that you can, see. Keeping a good distance can help you avoid getting pelted by rocks as well. And one last thing that some people may not think of. It's a lot easier to help your buddy in front of you spot any fluid leaks or stuff falling off their vehicle if you keep an appropriate distance. Dude, your wheel just fell off. Rule number 6. Keep an eye on your 6. You see what I did there? Pay attention to the vehicle behind you. Perhaps they didn't listen to Rule 5 and are following way too close.
Shame.
Radio and let them know. You don't have radio comms?
What?
Go watch the video linked at the top right of the screen.
What if the person behind you is struggling on an obstacle that you just went through? Or what if something really bad happened to them after you went around a blind corner? Just be a good friend and make sure the vehicle behind you is keeping up. And let the people in front of you know when they should slow down and wait.
Rule number 7. Don't be a trailblazer. Stay on the established trails and don't make up your own.
Not only does trailblazing destroy nature, but it can get areas permanently shut down.
Rule number 8. Don't stop and park in the middle of a trail, just like you wouldn't stop and park in the middle of a freeway.
Very nice.
Sure, there are emergencies that can come up where you have to break rule number 8, but stopping to take a photo isn't an emergency.
Pull off to the side of the trail where you can when you do need to stop. And if there's a lot of dry grass or brush in the area, keep in mind that your really hot exhaust components have the potential to start a fire.
Just something to be aware of.
One quick best practice note. When you're out on a narrow trail, especially one that's on a shelf road, keep mental notes when you see a pull-off area. Occasionally on narrow trails, either you or opposing traffic are going to have to back up to a pull-off area to pass one another. Or maybe you need to back up to a pull-off area just to turn around. It's just plain prudent to know how far you have to reverse in those kind of situations.
Alright, let's review the 8 rules of proper trail etiquette.
Number 1, read the trail signs. 2, yield to hikers, horses, and smaller vehicles. Slow down when you pass them. 3, the vehicle going uphill has the right of way. 4, hand signal oncoming traffic so that they know how many vehicles are behind you. 5, keep a safe distance from the vehicle in front of you. 6, keep track of the vehicle behind you. 7, don't be a trailblazer. Stay on established trails. And 8, don't stop and park in the middle of the trail. Find a pull-off area to stop.
Lastly, and above all else, always be courteous. Now get out there and let's all enjoy the trails together. But before you do, subscribe up here and watch another video right here. Always remember, destinations don't matter, the journey matters. This is Roger, over and out.